Proud of you guys.
Well, I feel like never give up. I feel like every game we can win.
What was the coach telling you those last few minutes of this game?
Take me to the promised land. Tell him, coach, give me the ball. Coach, I'll take you there.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Baker's High School Huddle, where we talk high school football with you right here on CW17. Frank Frangi along with Justin Barney from the Florida Times-Union. We're in district play now. Everything gets ramped up a little bit, doesn't it?
You know, last week was the first week of district play, and we saw some great games out of the gate, maybe some teams winning that we didn't expect to see win.
Boy, no question about it. Now, each week on the program, you know, we give you a game of the week. We give you a Gateway Conference game of the week as well. We talk about superlatives. We talk about recruits. We even do an Alumni Corner, talk about players who used to play here who are now succeeding in the college game. But we've got a good one to start with today. Let's start with our Gateway Conference game of the week. What a terrific game it was as Fletcher battled Atlantic Coast on Friday night. This was an interesting game, wasn't it? This was a game at Fletcher that Fletcher started off in great shape. Two Gateway Conference teams that battle a little bit of a rivalry, right? They play every year. It's a little bit of a rivalry.
Yeah, it was a good one last year, and we get a glimpse of that early on in this game this season.
All right, Alec Adamek, by the way, this ball was fumbled away. Chase Bonham fumbled it. Chase Harrison recovered for Fletcher, and boy, it was good going early on for Fletcher. This is B.J. McCray, a 2-yard touchdown run and a good start for the Senators.
You know, Fletcher's run the ball well this season, despite having to replace basically their whole stable of running backs.
Yeah, and boy, it was all Fletcher early on. This is Trevon Williams. Look at this run. A little guy bangs it down there all the way down to the 10-yard line. They had it going well at the beach, but nothing to show for it. Cesar Sanchez came on later, and he missed a short field goal.
Yeah, a lot of struggles early this season for kickers around the area, partly due to all that rain we've seen.
All right, let's get to the other side of the ball. This is Ashton Gonzalez now for Atlantic Coast. Nice pitch and catch here. Anthony Watley, the tight end, with a nice catch for Atlantic Coast. That led to this, a Trey Simons 32-yard field goal. He didn't have any trouble. One of the best kickers in the area.
Yeah, I saw Trey last year in this game, and really this game last season is where Trey came into his own.
Adamek scrambles now. This is for Fletcher. Good running that time. He's a nice-looking quarterback for the Senators. This time it's a screen pass to McCray all the way down to the 21-yard line. Good-looking little back as well.
Yeah, Alec Adamek doing very good. He took over started midway through last season. Has really just continued his play onto this year.
Including this play, a 21-yard touchdown pass to Anthony Evelyn very, very late in the half. And boy, right now, Fletcher was really playing well so far in the early going. How about this play? A screen pass now to Evelyn. Watch him go. Are you kidding me? All the way up the left sideline. Man, this was all Senators in our Gateway Conference game of the week, Justin. 20-3 Fletcher.
Yeah, kind of picking up where they left off the week before. 43 points in week 3 in a win over Providence.
So now Fletcher looks like it has it going. Ricky Medlock, the coach there, a longtime assistant, took over for Josh Corey, who went to work for the Titans. But the fourth quarter, oh my goodness, this was all Atlantic Coast. How about this play? Noble Tribune on an option pass to Chase Bonham all the way up the right sideline. Finally, Atlantic Coast has a little bit of life.
You know, Noble Tribune, a defensive back, and you would not have known it on that throw right there.
Simons bangs the extra point. That makes it 20-10 now after the PAT. But Noble Tribune plays offense and defense. What a big play there. And a fumble right here. Darius Eidelberg recovers. Look, it's all Atlantic Coast at this point in the fourth quarter.
You know, you're going to 23 deficit in that fourth quarter and just hoping to get within striking distance, and they start doing that.
How about that bomb from Trey Simon? That is a 47-yard field goal. That makes it 20-13, and they're still going. Look at this run. Damon Williams is a nice-looking back, isn't he? All the way down to the 2-yard line.
You know, you wouldn't have thought that this kid is a number one basketball player. Football kind of a hobby, I guess, but a basketball player, and he's looking like a true football player after tonight.
Boy, big, thick body. That helped him banging in here from a couple yards out. All of a sudden, it's a tie game. Remember, Fletcher led this game 20-3. Now it's tied 20-20, but Atlantic Coast still hasn't done. A reverse to Bonham. How about this run? That sets him up in great field position. And that man, Damon Williams, wasn't done. The basketball player turned football player. 26-yard run. This is a touchdown. That is a game winner. 27-20. Atlantic Coast on the road at the beach against Fletcher. A last-ditch effort here. They're going to try that lateral play. Fletcher trying desperately to get back in it, but that never works, right?
No, if you're Coach Matt Elliott, you're trying to get Trey Simons in that last position for a field goal, and Damon Williams, you see a Hail Mary at the end of the game and not really a running play to win that game, and that's what the Atlantic Coast did.
Those Atlantic Coast fans were crazy happy after the game. What a great win. Remember, down 20-3, and they came back and scored the last 24 points of the game, all in the fourth quarter. Pretty amazing stuff right there. Williams rushed for 132 yards on 19 carries. Bottom 3 big catches, including that one on the option pass. Adamek had a nice game, 227 total yards, but not enough. That's a big win for Atlantic Coast. What does that do for them now? Obviously a new coach, Kevin Sullivan there for the longest time, came there to start the program after leaving Jackson. Matt Elliott, one of his assistants, takes over. How does that boost this team? Down 20-3 at a district game and a Gateway Conference game, they come back and win.
They were not even really in this game last year. Fletcher completely rolled over them last season. And Atlantic Coast, when you're in a district with a Columbia, with the First Coast, with the league, you're going to have to win. You've got to win that first district game, or you're going to be in a position where you're going to have to win out the rest of the season. That first game for Matt Elliott, getting that in the win column is huge for that Stingrays program.
Boy, huge win in the district as well. Now, every day we have our Gateway Conference game of the week or our game of the week. We will send Mackenzie Thierkel out there to talk to the winning coach. Here she is with Matt Elliott.
Huge comeback win, especially in the fourth quarter. That's when you scored all the points. Walk me through that last quarter.
Well, I'm still trying to kind of figure it out myself. We got the ball, and I kept telling the kids, let's not panic. Defense got a turnover. We got a field goal. We knew they were getting the ball with 6 minutes left.
What was the thought process behind that drive to win the game? Were you ever thinking at some point that you were going to put Trey into kick since he is one of the best kickers?
Oh, absolutely. I don't even know what yard line we were on. I just knew we were in his range. He's good from about 47, 45 in. I was actually running the ball to get it up in the middle of the field. And I thought that they may have been thinking that we were in some kind of pass mode and they've been blitzing. So we just downed and kicked them and ran off tackle. And Damon Williams made a great play. Can't coach that.
Now, this is your first big win as head coach at Atlantic Coast. How do you use this momentum for the rest of the season?
Well, I think the big thing is it gives us confidence. We would have lost this game. We would have been 1-3. Guys are starting to question themselves, but now they know they can do it. And we got a lot of young guys. We got one returning starter from last year on offense and a lot of young guys on defense. So hopefully they start getting some confidence and believing in themselves.
All right, thank you so much, Coach, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Can Atlantic Coast get in the battle now that they start off with a win here?
You hate to say one win, one loss will make a season, but that's exactly what happened at Atlantic Coast last year. Missed the playoffs by 1 game. So you better believe Matt Elliott is emphasizing just how big this win over Fletcher was. When you get a win over Fletcher, that's a rival. They're a very talented team. But you got to come back. You've got to beat a First Coast. You've got to beat a Lee. You've got to beat a Columbia. But getting that first win is huge. Now it gives you kind of a tiebreaker edge over Fletcher or in any other scenario, tiebreaker edge. So big, huge victory for Atlantic Coast. You got to feel that they are a district title contender at this point after that win.
Is this the year to get First Coast? First Coast has so many good players. Is this the year someone gets them?
First Coast is a good team. Still good offense, still good defense. You don't have the offense like you've had with DeAndre Johnson the last 4 years. So if a team is going to beat First Coast, yes, this is the year to get them, but I don't think they fall off a cliff in terms of, we're not going to see a 1-8 season, anything from them.
All right, we will take a break. Terrific game. That is our Gateway Conference game of the week. We go from 2-7A to 4-5A. Man, that is a good district as well. Bishop Kenny went to the Westside to play Westside. Who prevailed? We'll talk about that and more when the huddle continues right after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Huddle. Baker's High School Huddle, brought to you by Baker Sports, your team sports superstore. Frank Frangie, along with Justin Barney. That District 4-5A is interesting. Districts change all the time, but now that it is Ponte Vedra, Parker, Wolfson, Kenny and Westside are sort of the kingpins in the league, aren't they?
Yeah, Kenny and Westside. Westside last year just ran through Bishop Kenny and wound up getting to the state playoffs in that district shootout. But you got to look at a Ponte Vedra this season. Very much improved Ponte Vedra. They're 4-0. Terry Parker very much improved too. So a challenging district in 4-5A.
All right, let's get to the videotape. It was played in or on the West Side at Westside High School on Firestone Road. Bishop Kenny and this terrific team, this good program from Westside, they got together on Friday night. It started out with a terrific play by the homestanding Westside team. Look at this run. Amari DuBose went 74 yards for the score.
Yeah, he is a fantastic athletic quarterback. I don't know if he plays quarterback on the next level, but the kid has wheels, and he's a guy that Mark Thorson and company had their eyes on this week.
All right, that made it 6-0. Didn't make the PAT. Now Nolan Carr, touchdown pass. Watch this, Julian Ingram in the back of the end zone, 7-6 Kenny. That's a nice pitch and catch combination.
You know, these guys starting to come into their own. Nolan Carr and Julian Ingram really over the last 3 weeks have really forged a pretty strong bond.
Zach Gajanis runs that one in from 9 yards to make it 14-6. Then Zach again from a yard out, one of the real good running backs in the area. Suddenly it's 21-6 Crusaders. They look good, but DuBose wasn't through. That's 2 of his 3 touchdown runs. That is a 6-yarder. That makes it 21-12. But here comes Kenny, winding back again. Ingram in the back of the end zone. Boy, he's a good-looking player. They'd gotten it to 24-12. Then that made it 31-12. Bruston made a field goal before that. DuBose still wasn't done, though. He bangs it in here. And that is the final score. So they got it. Bishop Kenny did get a safety in there on a bad snap. Built a big lead. Westside tried to come back, could not. Bishop Kenny wins it 33-20. Nolan Carr, 153 passing yards in the game, threw for those 2 touchdowns to Ingram that you saw. Zach Gashanis, man, he's just a physical, inside the tackles runner. 2 touchdowns to go with his 138 yards. DuBose, 150 rushing yards for Westside. Interesting game. They're going to throw the football. That's really kind of how they have to win, isn't it?
Yeah, you really, I mean, with the offenses now, you're going to a quick, a spread offense, throwing the ball quite a bit. And Bishop Kenny's been able to do that no matter the personnel they've had in there over the years. That's a mark of a successful coach, a successful system. And, you know, Nolan Carr, a young quarterback, Julian Ingram, a young receiver. And no matter the personnel, they've been able to continue to do that, to put up points. And it was early on in the season. They had a learning curve, but they've grown right into that role.
Yeah, Carr, the backup a year ago. Ingram kind of played in the shadows of Charles Wade, didn't he? He was a really good player, but he sort of played in Wade's shadow a little bit. Good win for Bishop Kenny in a very big district game. They win on the road against Westside. Another team we want to show you, or another game we want to show you, we showed you West Nassau a week ago. West Nassau played Episcopal. Not a lot of highlights in this game, but an interesting matchup on a private school from Duval County playing a public school in Nassau County. Just a few highlights from this game. Interesting game. This is the Episcopal team running out. This guy's a good player, Keyshawn Penniman. I don't know if he gets a lot of attention. This is a bad snap by Episcopal. He picks it up like a shortstop, didn't he? Ran that thing in. Terrific play by Penniman right there.
Yeah, he played it last couple years at University Christian, originally from that Callahan area, and he does everything. Did everything at UC and he does everything at West Nassau.
Here's 2 last names you know. That's Brunel to Baselli. Joe Brunel, son of Mark, to Adam Baselli, son of Tony. Brunel to Baselli. That made it 7-7, but here's the game winner. Bryce Jenkins throws to who else? Keyshawn Penniman made a move and went 75 yards for the score. They go on to win 14-7 over Episcopal. Interesting game. Episcopal had their chances, drove toward the end of the game, couldn't bang it in. 2 evenly matched teams. Well-played game by both teams. Let's talk about West Nassau for a moment. They're pretty good. But it's a brutal district, isn't it?
Yeah, it's you know, you're in there with Bowles, you're in there with Rains. I mean, that's a very difficult district for West Nassau. I mean, like I said, I think last week, I think they're probably a 7-2 team at this point. They're really the potential to win every other game on their schedule. I think those Rains and Bowles games are going to be pretty big uphill battles for the Warriors.
Talk about Rains and Bowles for a moment. Both ranked 1 and 2 in the state. Well, it's an interesting rivalry. Back in the day, they didn't play a lot. Now they've gotten grouped together. The FHSAA has a good sense of humor about that. I love that because I love watching that game. I was at that game last year. Handicap those 2 teams. Who's the better of the 2 teams? Where do you see that district headed?
Yeah, Range's defense is phenomenal. I think you know, you've seen him put up 200 points this year and hold teams to 10 points. 3 shutouts this season. They're 4-0. And it just, you know, and Bowles is Bowles. 56-0 a couple weeks ago against St. Pete Lakewood. Just a very good team. They schedule difficult teams. You know what you're getting with Bowles every year. With Rains, they haven't played the competition Bowles has early on, but I mean, you're not playing down to the teams that you're supposed to beat. So I think Rains handling business as it should. I think they're just too far out ahead in front of every team in the district.
It is really a terrific district. There's no question about it. One other game now that matched Duval County versus a surrounding county, this is Duval versus Clay, is when Inglewood played Middleburg. Interesting matchup. A little bit of a difficulty of things that happened with some JV players at Inglewood that Coach Marcus Miller had to work around, and a terrific matchup when Inglewood and Middleburg got together. Inglewood beat Middleburg. With a closer look at that game, here's Mackenzie Thurkill and Inglewood coach Marcus Miller.
Thanks, Frank. I'm here with Inglewood head coach Marcus Miller, who's also the baseball head coach here at Inglewood. First district game this past Friday, ended up winning 18-16. Tell me a little bit about that game.
Back and forth the whole time. They took the first drive down, and we got a stop and forced them into a field goal. We come down, make it 6-3. I think that was scored at the end of the first quarter. They go back up 10-6 at halftime. We come up 12-10, then they come up 16-12, and then we finally scored the last one, made it 18-16. It was kind of just whoever scores last when the time runs out, I think is going to win this one. It was a very exciting game.
Now, I do have to point out you are wearing this ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional game for you guys on Friday. Tell me a little bit why.
Thursday night, 5 of our junior varsity football players had been in a car accident, and a couple kids more severely injured than the others. And so we're going to probably wear these until those two get out of Gainesville Shands, which could be quite some time for one of the young men, and our hearts and everything are with them.
Now this season, you guys are 3-1 currently. What's been kind of the culture you've been trying to instill into this team?
I think the big change is finding leadership, and kids don't sometimes always know what positive leadership is if they haven't seen it. This is the first group that they only know high school football with us, so they've had all 4 years with our staff and our program, and I think that's a big difference. When you walk out day one, they have expectations, they know what you're about, they know how practice is supposed to go, and you're not coaching effort, you're not coaching little things, you're getting better at little things, you're not having to coach big stuff.
All right, well, thank you so much, Marcus, and good luck the
Thank
rest
you.
of the season. We'll be right back with more Baker's High School Huddle.
Do you want your team to be the best-looking team in town with the absolute best gear? Then you want Baker Sports. Since 1997, Baker Sports has been the stop for sporting goods, equipment, and gear, and has long been preferred by more college and high school teams in Northeast Florida than any other company. Middle school, youth, and Pop Warner, they all use Baker Sports. Baker Sports has the best design specialist, embroidery professionals, and silkscreen artists in town. For the best in sporting goods, it's Baker Sports.
Busy Friday night, Justin, all kind of games. What jumped out at you right now?
Quite a few good ones on there. Inglewood come back and beat Middleburg, obviously the big one. Range defense just continues to shine. First Coast gets in the win column, but really that Atlantic Coast Fletcher one right there jumps out. I mean, you're down 23 in the fourth quarter and you put 24 on the board. That's pretty impressive.
What a big win it was. Let's roll it. All kind of big games. Oakleaf, you were at that game.
Very good ending at that game. Oakleaf had a chance to win that game at the end. A bad snap over the Gainesville Buchholz punter's head with 18 seconds left. Oakleaf bats the ball around, goes back to the 5-yard line, and 2 shots at the end zone with 8 seconds to play. Oakleaf can't get in. Their winning streak comes to an end.
Ponte Vedra 70-0 over Wolfson.
Yeah, poor Wolfson. They difficult district. That was their first district game, and probably had the misfortune of playing the best team in that district.
Now each week we have an Alumni Corner close-up. Today, Shaquille Rashad, a terrific linebacker for North Carolina, played at Episcopal, very athletic player. He's kind of become a team leader in Chapel Hill too, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been a guy in the last couple of years who's put himself on the map. I know had injuries issues early on in his career, but he has developed into a solid linebacker. ACC linebacker of the week last week, and big performance in a victory over Illinois.
Now we also have a recruit. We're going to keep our eye on a recruit every year here on the program, every week here on the program. You really can't go very long without talking about Jamari Wakefield. Boy, when the Providence running back puts up big games, he puts up big games. He went crazy against Creekside on Friday night.
And really his career has spanned a year and a half. His 4th career game with 300 yards or more rushing, and he's also got a pair of 400-yard games too. So the guy, a Wake Forest commit, he's a big running back. He knows how to run behind his offensive line. And really the last 2 weeks you've seen Jamari Wakefield and that Providence offense get going.
I thought maybe Jamari would get offers from more prominent, more elite schools, and that's nothing to knock Wake Forest. Did it surprise you that the Floridas, the FSUs, and the Georgias weren't on him harder, or at least to this point haven't been?
I think as his season progresses, I think towards signing day we'll see a little bit more activity on Jamari. I know colleges are interested in him. They have his tape. They know about him. Maybe want to see a little bit more as far as how he pans out this year. But I think you'll see bigger offers than a Wake Forest come in, and maybe Jamari consider some of those offers.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we're almost out of time. But what are the big games next week? Huge games in the Gateway, huge games not in the Gateway. That's coming up, so stay with us. Welcome back to the Huddle. Almost out of time. Oh, what a big week we've got next week. Frank Frangie, Justin Barney with you. Okay, tell me about next week. First of all, let's go down to St. Johns County. Huge game there and an interesting storyline. One team's never beaten the other team.
You look at Bartram Trail and St. Augustine. St. Augustine hosts a game this week, but the number jumps out at you, 16-0. St. Augustine has never lost to Bartram Trail. There have been some good games. 14 times in the regular season they met, twice in the playoffs, and there have been some fantastic ones. A couple one-point games, blocked field goals, deciding games, but Bartram still has that goose egg. I think that's the best chance they've had in years to beat St. Augustine. Two-quarterback system has worked very well for Bartram Trail. Jordan Smith, Joey Gatewood. You don't see a lot of two-platoon QB systems work, and Bartram is getting it down pat this season.
All right, Joey Wiles is watching. Daryl Sutherland's watching. Is this the year? Is this the year they get them?
You know, I think it could be the year that Bartram finally gets them. St. Augustine struggled a little bit on offense. I think Bartram's offense is clicking a little bit more, but there's something to be said about that streak.
All right, tell us other games going on. Baker County, big one playing here in Duval County as well.
Yeah, Baker County, Bishop Kenny, it's guys with former district rivals getting together again. Baker County really needs to win. They lost last week in district play, and Bishop Kenny really looks like they're getting in sync at this point in the season.
Two games in the Gateway Conference. Ribault plays First Coast. Tell us about that one.
Ribault First Coast, a big one. Ribault not as bad, 0-3 last week, big win over Paxson, but Ribault not nearly as bad as that record suggests, and I think it's going to be a good one. First Coast got back in the saddle last week. Ribault kind of getting into its game too, so I think it's going to be a good one there too.
All right, and our Gateway Conference game of the week, by the way, we have one of those every week, is Parker at Sandalwood. That's a little old school, isn't it? Parker and Sandalwood have been playing a lot of years. That is truly a rivalry now, folks. They are very close together. A lot of the kids that grew up together, grew up playing together in little leagues and whatnot, and some went to Parker and some went to Sandalwood. That's a nice matchup. Can Parker hang with Sandalwood?
You know, it's a different year for Parker, but under Coach Tommy Ballum, I think that Parker has shown potential. They were 0-10 last year. They won early on in the season, played Fletcher close. So I think Parker really is in a different state than it was last year and in a couple years past. But Parker Sandalwood, truly an old school Gateway Conference rivalry. The kids may not now know about it, but I guess their parents know about that one.
You bet, and you know about it.
That's right.
You know about it as well. Folks, that is our program. Thanks for being part of it. It's Baker's High School Huddle. We do it every week right here on the CW17, where we talk about the best high school football played right here on the First Coast. For Justin Barney, I'm Frank Frangie. Have a great week.